Hi everybody, it's Kathy here, and I am playing along with the 30 Days of Sketches with Christy's Beautiful Life, and it is Series 18. Today is day 2, and this is the sketch from Katie, who is part of the Scrappy Sisters, and I have flipped it over onto its side. Now, I have done this sketch once before. I did it for a Stretch the Sketch Sunday where we made it into a double layout. So today I'm going to do my mixed media background, and I am using 3 different inks. I've got an aged mahogany, which I'm using here, and I'm doing the packaging technique. And I also add some extra colouring and details, as you'll see as we go along. So the aged mahogany is giving the red effect. Then I go into the wild honey, and that gives me my second colouring. And I originally had pulled out fossilized amber, but I changed my mind after I see the colours on the layout. So this one here is the wild honey, so it's giving it that yellowy effect, and I like how that's come up on this background. And as I said, I changed my mind and I go for rusty hinge as my third choice, so that I come back to a reddy browny colour at the bottom. So that's giving me that 3 splotching background that you see in the sketch, and allowing it for that 3 points on the layout. Now I have got like a giraffe pattern in the background on that piece of paper, which you can see, and I wanted to go with that sort of an effect through the layout, inking as well. And so with my Scotch timber distressed oxide, I have tried to use the bubble wrap here, as you see me doing this, and it comes out not the way I would like it, but it does add another dimension to that layout. I go back to putting it directly onto the bubble wrap and then adding a few spots around the layout, and you can see those circles in there if you look through the inks. And it only had to be subtle, and I just wanted it as an extra bit. Now, using the Vintage Photo Distress spritz from Tim Holtz, I've added in some splatters as well. Now, as you can see, that's because my photos are of the giraffe. And what I'm doing up here is I'm using the negative space of the die cut that I cut out on my Cricut to put in a masking up the top, because I am going to put a cut file over the top of that. Now, the sketch looks like it's got thread wound around the layout, and so that's what I'm doing it with this jute twine. I'm just putting it haphazardly around the layout, trying to make it look like it's random. I will use little punches to hold it in place to dry. It does take a little bit for this glue to hold, but that's okay, and it only takes like a minute. So you will see the punches just there like that, holding it in place while I get the glue to hold the jute in where I want it to be, so that it looks like it's just randomly, around the page as an added piece of this layout. And I do like the effect that it has on here, and the colouring is perfect for my photos and also the paper and the colours that I've chosen. So I'm just going to trim it off here and just do the last little bit of twirling and placement here. I try to make it look like it's, randomly placed, but, not so crash hot about it. Some people do it so amazingly well. I just struggle with getting it to sit where I want it to sit. But that's why glue is a marvellous invention, and we have punches to hold them in place. So I followed around that ink, splattering and smooshing with the thread, and now I can put my cut file at the top. Now, I will admit I wasn't 100% happy with the light cut file, so off screen at the end I do add a dark one. I'm sorry that you don't get to see that, but I like to sit and remunerate and conjugate about my pages, and sometimes I'm just not happy and I will go back and add more, or I'll make some change, and that is one of the changes that I did make off screen. I did put a brown giraffe into that top corner, and you will see it on the close-ups at the end. So this photo here is of a giraffe feeding. It was at Sydney Zoo. This day we went to the zoo, my daughter and I. It was the day before I went to hospital and got diagnosed with whooping cough, actually. I didn't know I was that sick. But yeah, we struggled. It was a struggle, but we did the day. And I have this great giraffe from Scrapbook Fantasy paper called On Safari, and I just have been dying to put it onto a page, and now I've got it here and it fit perfectly with the sketch. So I have that giraffe there, I've got the die cut at the top, and then I did do the title with another giraffe, so that's got the three animals like the sketch and the title going into place, and it says Our Wild Adventure. And I've put a camera there because we took lots of photos that day, and it was a really good day. I was contemplating putting flowers on it, and I was going to build up the clusters, but I actually just leave it like that because I didn't want to take away from the die cutting. So while I'm thinking about this layout and what else to do, I'm going to put in a faux stitched border because I just want that to stand out, that layout from the frame that I have put in. I did use craft and I put a tiny frame underneath. I gutted out my craft because I used it to cut my files with and also to match one of the photos. And this faux stitching just makes it pop off that frame just a little bit more. Now I'm still looking at it and I'm not 100% happy, as you can see. When I tap my fingers to the side of my layout, that usually means that I'm not happy and I need to think a bit more about what I want to do in it. And I was contemplating what else to do. I've added in the date with my date stamper, and while I was there I decided that, you know what, I actually think I need to do a bit of stamping. And so I've got my favourite circle stamp, which I absolutely love, and I'm just adding 5 because it's odd, and I'm going to put it around the layout, and that's just adding that little bit of extra to the background. And I just like how much that little bit of extra adds to the overall effect of the layout. And so I'm putting that in under that photo there, it looks like, and over here to the side at the bottom of the giraffe. And now I'm feeling a little bit better. Now the layout is starting to feel almost complete. So the next thing I do is I look at it and I know that I have to set up my visual triangle. Even though it is roughly set up, I really want to make it stand out a little bit more for your eye. So my next thing is, of course, my Nouveau drops. And I have got these brand new ones. Well, they're brand new because I haven't opened them before. They're not brand new because I've had them for a long time, just sitting in my stash. And I just love this colour. It's just beautiful. It's called Moroccan Red, and it's fantastic and it's perfect. It was the perfect colours for this layout. Now you watch. I've done the sets of 3 in 3 spots, but I cleaned that one off because I actually don't think it's balanced enough for the eye, and I've moved it to the other side. And now that you can see that there's the 3 sets of 3, which now are a clear visual triangle for your eye to roam around. And I'm just now still, like I said, keep adding more because I was not 100% happy. So I'm adding some Nouveau drops to those stamped circles, and that's just adding a little bit of an extra feature to it. And I'm quite happy with now. But so you can see I'm looking at that top one and I'm just contemplating, and I'm not sure that I'm happy with that die cut there at the front top. I think it blends in too much. It's a little bit too pale for what I wanted, and that's why off screen I go in and I use the darker brown to cut another one and put it into place. But that's my layout. That's how I've interpreted the sketch this time round. There were 3 animals on it. I've got 3 animals on it. There were 2 photos. I got 2 photos. There was mixed media in the background. I've got mixed media in the background. There was the thready type thing in there. I put the thread in. And in the close-up here, you can see where I've also gone in with some gold speckles to ink just to add that little bit more detail. And look, isn't it better with that darker giraffe? Full playlist down below. Happy scrapping, everybody. Thanks for watching. Don't forget the thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one very soon.